Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide. Well, today we've got the big one, the Boox Tab Ultra C. It has literally arrived maybe 2-3 hours ago to my place, kindly sent from Boox as a review loan unit, and as usual Boox has no say in what my opinion is or anything like that. So today we're going to be unboxing this one and checking it out to see a couple of things. First of all, how is the Kaleido 3 panel technology? Second of all, how does it pair with the Tab GPU that the Tab Ultra C has? And also just a first look into how does it compare? How does the Tab Ultra C compare to the Tab Ultra? Because the new panel offers 300 ppi in black and white as opposed to 227 ppi on the Tab Ultra. So a bunch of interesting stuff to kind of check and unpack in here. But before we get on to all of that, I would like to invite you to check out the mydeepguide.com/shop, and you can find my daily organizer 2023 there. And what is my daily organizer? It is PDF, hyperlinked PDF file that satisfies all of your organizing, personal or professional organizing needs, and it caters to your yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily planning needs, and a diary and all sorts of things. You can also find in the description down below a dedicated video playlist that contains tons of information about MDO, and that can help you make up your mind, first of all, to understand what it is and how to use it best, and also to make up your mind, is that the right product for you or not? So checking out and maybe buying the MDO is an excellent way to support the independence of my deep guide, because as you can see, there's no sponsors, there's no anything like that, and your support means a lot because it helps the channel run and grow. And with the purchase of MDO, not only are you supporting the My Deep Guide, but you are also getting one of the best hyperlinked planners out there on the market. And now onwards with unboxing of the Tab Ultra C. And here we are. So the Boox Tab Ultra C this time. And yeah, you all know what it is, so just a quick overview. This is a 10.3-inch Kaleido 3 powered device, so a color e-paper device capable of displaying 4096 colors with the resolution in black and white of 2480 by 1860, resulting to 300 ppi in black and white. And the color resolution is half that because it uses the overlay, so 150 ppi, resulting at 1240 by 930. It has everything else exactly the same specifications as the Tab Ultra because it is the exact same device except the color display. So that means dual front light with color adjustments, capacitive touch and stylus input, octa-core CPU, 4 GB of RAM, 128 GB of storage, a 16 megapixel protruding camera on the back, Android 11, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth standards, micro SD card slot, USB-C with OTG support, microphone, speakers, same 6300 milliamp battery. It's the same color, I think, cosmic black, and same thickness and same approximate weight, which is reported at 480, but as we remember, Tab Ultra was at 503 or 507 grams, and that will be verified not in this video but in the in-depth review. But yeah, just something that I kind of recall. So that's the overview of what the Tab Ultra C is, and now let's open it up. Colorful, colorful, colorful. Nice to see that. Okay, same weight, same type of look. It may be a little bit different color. We will see. But we get the Tab Ultra C, the standard Pen 2 Pro that comes with Tab Ultra as well, so included with Tab Ultra C as well, micro SD card slot tool, and a USB-C to USB-A cable, and of course documentation. So a completely standard packaging that consists out of the device, pen, USB cable, micro SD card tool slot, tool for the slot, and the supporting documentation. And we're done with that, and now let's finally check this baby out. Alright, so let's slot it out from the protective cover, and it is not the same color. It is a different color than the Tab Ultra. So that's kind of interesting and neat to see that they're... Oh, stop fighting with the magnets. So we got the Tab Ultra and the Tab Ultra C on the side. Tab Ultra was of this kind of darkish bluish color. This one is more silver kind of gray. And does it transfer onto the back as well? Yep, we can actually see that it's the same thing on the back. Personally, I do prefer the look and the color of the Tab Ultra C. I think that it's like kind of like a green tintish, but a little bit different and a little bit less saturated, like it was with the Note Air 2 Plus. Overall, the device seems to be pretty much the same. So one of the things that I can mention is that, yeah, most of the things that bothered me with the Tab Ultra are still there, meaning the bucket design and the sharper edges, and of course the protruding camera at 2.1 millimeters or something like that, or maybe even more. And yes, this one is not aligned perfectly either, which is something that's kind of strange to see. And it's like part of the design that you have this misalignment here, because it's exactly like that present on the Tab Ultra as well. So that's a little bit disappointing to see that there was like opportunity to actually address some of these issues. For example, this one, that it's not perfectly aligned. And if you're more interested about that, you can actually see me measuring out and reporting exactly the misalignment, how much it is in horizontal and vertical axis in my in-depth review of the Tab Ultra. So before I power it up, I mean, it's the same exact type of weight as the Tab Ultra. It has the same ergonomics as the Ultra. I like the color a little bit better on the Ultra C, and because it's a little bit lighter, it actually makes the Boox logo pop out a little bit more. The build quality, as you would expect, and as it was with the Tab Ultra, is really good, except for the, the design issues that I'm not a fan of such a thin edge. I think that one of the inherent problems with the design is that this edge is so thin that you can't really chamfer it properly, and it's not properly chamfered, so it does have a little bit of sharpness, plus it kind of protrudes from the sides here, and then when you're actually writing, this thing is constantly in your palm. Not very comfortable. So yeah, same issues are pretty much there. The general overview: we have a flush screen, color screen, as you can see, which we will get to very shortly. So yeah, a color screen here, Kaleido 3 this time. Flush with the surface. Reflectivity is pretty much identical as on the Tab Ultra, so let's see. Yep, exactly the same, and it's okay. Nothing spectacular, nothing catastrophic, just okay. So I think it's like a happy medium and a compromise between between clarity and reflectivity dimming. Now obviously this device is trying to be many things. So one of the things it's not trying to be is a paper replacement tablet. Therefore, like the Tab Ultra, it does not have a paper-like structure. In fact, it's quite smooth, so that's something that you have to keep in mind. On the top, we have the power button, and one huge improvement, for me at least. One of the things that I really did not like about, and I still don't like about the Tab Ultra, is that the power button is not protruding at all, and it's really difficult to actually just feel your way around to power it up or on or off. And this has been remedied on the Tab Ultra C. Yes, the camera can catch it. You can see ever so slightly, just a little bit of a nibble here, that it kind of extrudes a little bit here, and that's all you need to easily feel where the power button is. So they did do something, and I'm not entirely sure, but it looks like the edges have been chamfered a little bit more, maybe. No, I don't know, I don't think so, but this is definitely an improvement. So on the top you have a power button, doesn't duplicate as a fingerprint reader. Then you have one of the speakers up, the other speaker is on the bottom, along with the micro SD card slot and the USB-C port. Then on the side you got nothing. On the other side you have legal mumbo jumbo and a data connection to the keyboard. And on the back we have the fancy logo stuff here, kind of symbols, nothing on the back, just a Boox logo, and the dreadfully awful protruding camera that's protruding in 2 steps. One protrusion is not enough, you need to have 2 of them to complete your experience, I guess. I don't know, but the color looks really pretty of the device itself, and it's nice to actually see that they are thinking about the design and how they can kind of differentiate it, and it's a nice differentiation between the Tab Ultra and the Tab Ultra C. All right, so we are going to do a first power up, and this is not an in-depth review, so this is going to be just the first impressions, but a little bit more extended because I will want to compare 2 things. And one, of course, the color itself, obviously that's the whole point, and the second one is the 300 ppi in black and white. How does it compare on the same exact document with the Tab Ultra, and what difference does that offer? Right out the get-go, I have to say, you know that I'm not a fan of the Kaleido technology and the Kaleido panels, but I have to say that what I've seen here with the flash is probably the best Kaleido that I have seen up to date. So let's go through the initial setup and continue when it's done. All right, and here we have Tab Ultra versus Tab Ultra C. I have loaded up the exact same document, and neither of them are using the Frontlight. The Frontlight controls are a little bit different on these two, but both of them are off. And right off the gate you can actually see that, as expected, the difference in the default non-frontlit brightness, this is unavoidable with the Kaleido technology, and that's one of the reasons why I don't like it, is that it's going to be significantly darker than black and white ink panel, and you can actually see that that difference is really considerable. So it's just exactly the same lighting conditions, and this one is looking like it's in a shadow. However, the really good thing here is that the Tab Ultra C has a very good front light, and it also has warm and cold light. This is not something that was always available on all of the color devices from Boox, so it's a nice thing to actually see that. So I can actually dial in the color just the way I want it. The front light is super strong, so it can actually go very high. So I can actually dial in with the front light turned on. I can compensate and bring it to be very close, if not identical or brighter, as the non-color panel here. Now this one is not front lit, of course, so if I do front light it then and add, it becomes even more brighter, right? But This is the first time that I've seen that a device is able to compensate for the lack of the brightness of the color panel in such a successful way. So this right out of the gate is a really, really big plus on the Tab Ultra C. It's not just a front light that's been added, it's a front light that has been adapted to help remedy the issues that the Kaleido technology has. So that is what we have here. So just please don't be confused. This is how it is without the front light, and you can use the front light to compensate so that it actually looks far more similar to the brightness of this. Of course, then the battery consumption will be higher on the Tab C, but you are no longer limited to just the, oh, it's just dark or it's washed out and kind of glowy. So with that in mind, let's now focus on the image quality and the image clarity. And I'm going to zoom in so that we can actually compare the two side to side. All right, so let's first focus in this document on the images and the differences between the images. And as you can see, they are clearly rendered in a very, very nice way on both of the devices. And I'm using the best refresh mode here in the reader itself. So it's not the speed refresh mode, it's the normal refresh mode, so that we get the best quality that each of the devices can actually offer. So we can clearly see is obviously the difference in the colors, but also if you do pay attention to these small kind of details and lines here, it's starting to actually come through the difference between, in the black content, only in the black content you will see that, the difference between 300 ppi on the Tab C and the Tab Ultra. The difference is quite small, but what I can notice, for example, let's focus on the tweaking the sound sentence here versus tweaking the sound sentence here on the Ultra C. And this is where the 300 ppi is starting to come into play. So this is definitely, you can see a difference between the definition of the S. It's no longer losing the cohesion here, and when you're dealing with the really, really thin fonts and really, really small fonts, you definitely do start seeing that difference. So let's now move this to just purely text so that we can see a bit more of a comparison. And while they are very, very similar, you can see a little bit of a difference, definitely, in all sorts of, in bold, larger or smaller fonts. You definitely get to see a little bit of a difference, and that 300 ppi is coming into play here. So that gives you a little bit more crispness, a little bit more sharpness, and especially when dealing with such tiny fonts, you do have this kind of cool thing. So the next thing that I want to test out is I'm going to put both of them into speed mode. And the speed mode, refresh mode, will of course be faster, but it will degrade the quality. Oh, that's interesting. So Tab C only has Regal, right? But that doesn't make any difference in the quality itself, so the comparison is still valid. Now when we switch to speed mode, we should see, and we do see, definitely do see a big difference here in quality. But also we have an option here which says in speed mode apply anti-aliasing to text. All right, so now when I've applied anti-aliasing to text as well in speed mode, usually what that does is it thins out the text, and in such situations certain things can become more difficult to read. For example, italics here for the selected and LEDs, and you can see that the 300 ppi definitely helps with that. In that situation it helps quite a bit. So, and especially here, for example, let's move the camera down so that you can see this is a very clear example. So all around here you get a little bit of a messiness and not such a clear kind of a display of the fonts. Here that's a very much crisper situation, in the same document under the exact same conditions. So that 300 ppi has a very, very practical application, not just something that's, you know, a spec on the paper. The difference is pronounced for sure. Continuing on with the same document, both of them are still in the speed mode. Let's see the performance, and it's pretty much the same actually. Tab Ultra C seems to be blinking a little bit less, but that might be my settings for the full refresh. Yeah, that's my settings. I've set it to full refresh. What's actually really impressive, I mean, the speed here is as fast as it is on this one, except that I have that full refresh mode. So so the speed is the same. But what I'm really, really impressed with is the fact that look at the absence of the issue of ghosting. Where's the messiness? Where's any of it that's associated with previous Kaleido devices? I mean, check this speed out. This is an e-ink device. This is a color e-ink device. This is really, really impressive. Okay, I'm very much impressed by this. So let's switch to Regal and see. This is the maximum quality that we get, and then the refresh is of course slower, but you get a much, well, not much, but you get more details and a higher resolution and a higher crispness. Text really, really pops out, and it's very, very much detailed. So this time I'm just going to zoom in onto it so that you can see the sharpness and the clarity of the text. So this is the maximum that the camera will allow me to go, but just for a reference point, this is the zoom level so that you can see how big the text is in relation to the nib and the pen. And as you can see, even in difficult conditions with bold and tiny font with italics, which is a little bit kind of bolded as well, Tab Ultra C is able to deal with this without any serious issues. Now let's switch from here to the speed mode so that you can see what the quality degradation is. It's a little bit there. You can maybe see it in the top of the S actually disappearing, but for all intents and purposes it's just really, really good. So this is exceptionally good. This is far better than what I actually expected. One of the things that you should also keep in mind is that in speed mode you do get image degradation as well. So you can see a little bit of graininess here. I don't really mind it because it looks like a newspaper print. But if you want the maximum quality, then you should definitely switch to Regal mode, because then you have the clarity as you can see here. All right, let's switch to a graphics hard or graphics heavy document and compare and see the performance there. All right, and here we are with my standard document that I am using. I have enabled image smoothing or dithering, and I am in Regal refresh mode so that we get the best quality, and the front light is turned on. So this is how it looks like without the front light turned on, so quite considerably darker. And this is the setting that I've made to compensate for it. And right out of the gate I can see that the Boox team has worked quite hard in making sure that the refresh methodology behind how NeoReader is dealing with the refresh methodology is intelligent. This is now far more intelligent, and it's actually understanding when to kind of clear out, what to clear out, and the end result is something much better. So this is going to be super high difficulty and high requirement for the device, and if we're going to see any ghosting, it's going to be here. So let's actually see here, and okay, this is, oh my god, this looks good. I mean, I don't know if the camera is catching this, but this is looking super sweet. So yeah, the GPU, oh my, this is nice. Okay. All right, so Boox did something really, really special here. And as I've mentioned, I expected a lot, really, really a lot from the Tab Ultra C, because it's Kaleido 3, because it's Tab Ultra, and because it has the GPU and all of these things. And I gotta say, the first impressions are, boy, did they ever deliver. This is the first impressions here. This is the best e-paper color experience that I have had to date. And I have tried the DES, I have tried the Gallery 3, I have tried the previous Kaleido versions and everything. And yeah, let's see without the Frontlight. Yeah, it's quite darker, but it's actually quite usable. You get that yellowish tint, of course, and it is darker, but it's far more usable than the previous versions. So they've obviously done so much work here. I mean, look at this. This just looks so good. So good. And remember, I'm a starch opponent of Kaleido. I don't like Kaleido technology. I always say, hey, it's a dead end, and it is a dead end technology, but what they have managed to actually extract from it is simply astonishing. This feels like reading a magazine. This is extremely pleasant. I don't have any ghosting issues. As you can see, the Regal refresh, yes, it's slower, but you don't have any ghosting whatsoever. And that's basically what I want from an experience like this. So, and the clarity of the text is simply gorgeous. This is just wonderful. Let's zoom in so that you can see. So I have zoomed in now to the width of the device so that you can actually see a little bit more content, but look at the clarity of the text. It's just so nice. It's very crisp, it's very precise, it's just really good. This is far better than what I expected, and even in very difficult conditions of actually combining all of these things, it's able to, you know, pop the text when it needs to pop. The image still has contrast, and I haven't even gotten into color correction or contrast correction or anything. Nope, the default setting is spot on, and this just looks so good. I mean, this is usable. This is we're no longer in proof of concept territory or anything like that. This is now a product that actually makes sense, and this is the first time that I've seen a color tablet make sense, make a case for itself. Why do I exist? Well, I'm definitely offering something that a traditional tablet does not offer. So yes, look at the sharpness here. Like, look how crisp the edges are here. They're just really well defined, and it's something that's very nice. So I'm just gonna open up the same page and the same document on the Tab Ultra so that we can actually compare the image quality between the two. And here we have them, exactly the same conditions. Frontlight off on the Tab Ultra C, Tab Ultra here, Regal refresh mode, both of them in Regal refresh mode, all of the same stuff, image smoothing, everything exactly the same set. And you can definitely see that, I don't know if you can see it, but you have a bit of a difference. So as we're getting to smaller fonts and thicker fonts down here, with the big fonts it's all the same, but when we're getting down to here, you just start seeing the white is popping more against the black, and that's again those 300 ppi. The edges are a little bit more defined, and that gives the advantage to the Tab Ultra C even in black and white conditions. Yes, it is darker, but not that much when you're looking at content like this. So for example, there, let's see, the speed, pretty much identical, because it is the identical device and it is the identical everything. Yes, the whites are whiter, absolutely, they are whiter on the Tab Ultra C, on the Tab Ultra than on the Tab Ultra C, but as I said before, you have that Frontlight which is calibrated in such a good way that you can just pop it on and it doesn't glow. it doesn't wash anything out, it simply compensates for that darkness, and then you actually get color, brightness, and crisper image when compared to the Tab Ultra C. Yes, you get higher battery consumption because you're using the Frontlight, so that is a negative for sure. But you know what? I mean, it's probably going to be a good lasting battery. I don't know. We're going to be doing that test in the in-depth review. But this again here this is deeply impressive, like really, really properly impressive, and the color is just so nice. It just looks like a well printed out magazine, and something between a newspaper and a magazine. So the crispness is of the magazine quality, but the saturation is of a newspaper quality, right? So that is the difference. And I'm just going to move Tab Ultra out of the way so we can focus on the Tab Ultra C, and just give you a little bit more of these images here so that you can just see how lovely this whole thing actually is. Okay, I could look at this a whole day. Oh my god, that looks good. Look at this. So let's focus on first impressions, right? So let's focus on writing, and let's see just what kind of writing latency can we see. So I'm going to go through the whole process of creating a notepad so that we can see what the ghosting is like. So test a notepad. All right, and what e-ink mode am I in? I'm in HD mode, so that's how it looks like in HD mode. Let's see what the degradation is in balanced mode. Again, the 300 ppi is an advantage here as well, which is kind of very nice to see. So let's zoom in so that you can see a bit more once I start writing. And yeah, like something like this. All right, so let's go back to HD mode, maximum quality. Let's give ourselves some lines, horizontal lines like this. And yeah, let's there we go. That's just so unintuitive, that keyboard. All right, so let's finally create this, and let's start writing. Alright, so as you can see and as you can read what I've written here, if you can read my handwriting, the speed is as good as it is on Ultra C, which means absolutely astonishingly fast. It feels like there's no latency whatsoever. The feel is not paper-like, but it's not glass-like either. It's actually something that I like, but if you are for paper feel, then yeah, this is not gonna give you the paper-like feel. But what's really, really impressive is the image quality and the crispness of the writing, because I'm writing in black, so I am making full advantage of the 300 ppi. However, Again, we do not have anti-aliasing on the strokes, which is an omission on the Tab series of the devices, which doesn't make a lot of sense. And that becomes even more apparent now on the Tab Ultra C with the 300 ppi. So this is something that they really need to get their handle on, because it's there's no reason why this is excluded from the Tab devices, especially from the Tab Ultra C, because now you can see the jagginess of the aliasing in ultra crisp sharpness and all of its glory, because it has 300 ppi. So they really need to add that filtering back onto the Tab devices. But yes, this definitely works, and we have these colors to choose from. So let's see, what does it look like when we write in blue, for example, because this is going to be half the resolution. So okay, it's fast and responsive. Let's change to red, something I can see a bit more. Quite washed out red, so not as bad as it was on the Gallery 3 or the Galley, but still not really popping out. I guess these panels have an issue with getting that red to be really poppy. So yeah, the colors are kind of washed out, but the performance is equally fast, which was not case with the Big Me Galley device, which is used in the Gallery 3 panel. So again, this is just the first impressions, and as you can see, the speed of the strokes, even in color, is really responsive. And just one last thing, let's put a huge one. Let's take a brush, giant brush with color here, and let's see what we get as far as latency goes. Very impressive. There's no increase in latency when you're using bigger brushes. Very nice thing to see. All right, and finally, let's just see general operations, how they are. So this is now what kind of refresh mode are we in balance. Let's switch to fast and see what the ghosting is like. Well, this is very impressive. If you remember previously, you would just have like, why I like to test Google Play Store is because when you have a lot of ghosting, you end up with columns and rows, because the ghosting residue just kind of stays there. But this most definitely works. So this is with the Frontlight off, so quite a lot darker, but still very much usable. Does not affect actually ghosting. Actually, Frontlight helps with kind of taking that ghosting that is there on the fast mode a little bit away, and it just is such a clean device. Now let's go to ultra fast, and even ultra fast is super usable. Yes, there's a degradation in quality, but to begin with, you have 300 ppi black and white, you have 150 black and ppi color. So even though it degrades the resolution, that resolution is still going to be bigger or higher than it is on the Tab Ultra. And you get the speed kind of advancement here as well. So let's go back to balanced and see how that performs. And even that performs, and there's hardly any ghosting that you can actually see. So all of the modes that are available on the Tab Ultra C are actually usable. There are no gimmicks here anymore. It used to be a different kind of story years ago, but this is no longer the case. And that GPU is doing wonders, and it's absolutely amazing what I'm actually seeing here. So let's open up a browser and see how the browsing experience is like. All right, so here we are in balanced mode. This is how this looks like. I would probably use this in fast. Yep, simply for comfort. You just is a little bit more comfortable. So let's see, how does this work? Ooh, he's not liking this. Oh, that's an overlay of some sort. So that's a bad website. So that's not a problem of it. This is a bad website. So let's go into something here. Let's see. No. Something's off. Oh, so that's, yeah, that's the cookies thing. Yeah. Okay, so let's accept, and then this should go away. Yeah, so that was the cookies thing on top. All right, so the transparency is handled like that. So if you do encounter that, then you should know that you should find where the overlay is that's causing that. All right, so that's a good thing to see, that it's not a problem with the device. And here we see that for the first time ever on the Tab Ultra C on a e-paper device, we are able to actually browse without any issues at all, well, other than the usual spamming of ads and all the other things. But as far as just reading things, oh, these articles are horrifically stupid. This is this is terrible. So yeah, depressing content, but at least a very realistic article here kind of situation, so you can see how the performance is. And the clarity and the readability, again, it just pops such a nice way. And the rendering of the images is also really nice. Now, it may be a little bit more darker than what I would use normally, so I can just lower that down, and immediately it's no longer that dark, and actually just looks a little bit better. So we can actually go to HD and see how does this look like in HD. Much better, of course, but you will see that the speed is definitely that, and then it refreshes when you're done. So the best thing for me would be either balanced or fast mode when reading, and I think balanced just works. It's very nicely balanced. So for browsing, top marks as well. Well, when we're checking this out, let's see the videos as well. Downloading and installation is also super fast, so it's already downloaded and now it's installing. So overall, the power of the tablet is there, so you can definitely enjoy all of the stuff. So what's going to be interesting here is the Kaleido 3 and the way it's implemented in the Tab Ultra C. Is this finally the option where you can start watching videos comfortably? So let's see. And again, kind of just watching around here, this is all quite good. So let's just find a nice video. All right, let's check this out. See what the resolution is. Nope, we want much higher resolution, higher picture quality. Right. This is with the Frontlight. Let's zoom in so you can see full quality here. Frontlight turned off. Actually quite usable. Let's switch to a different fast mode and to a different part here. Let's lower the music. Okay, we do have blinking. We definitely have quite a lot of blinking here. So as you can see, let's see if the Frontlight remedies that a bit. No, that was with the Frontlight. Okay. So let's see if that's better with ultra fast. No, not really. All right, so the blinkiness is for sure there, but the overall image quality is really good. Well, this is ultra fast. So let's go back to balanced and see what we get here. Nope. I guess fast is the best we can do here. So let's go like this. All right, so it is not intended for video, but you can watch it. It's not going to be an excellent experience. It's not going to replace your LCD or OLED tablet, but it is going to give you something that you can watch. So you can actually watch this. The only thing that's actually bugging me is it's not the speed. The colors are great. The speed is not the problem. The details are great. The only thing that's bugging me is the blinkiness. So as you can see, a little bit of blinkiness. And I think that's something that would become a problem after a while. So now let's check out a different video. All right, so yeah, why not? Let's check this out and see what do we have. Let's increase the quality to maximum so that we have good quality. So it's definitely watchable. It's something that you can watch, but the ghosting is there, and the blinkiness is something that does really kind of takes away quite a lot from the experience. So, but again, this, let's not forget, this is an e-ink screen. This is an e-ink screen playing a video in full color, quite fine. It doesn't have any issues other than the blinkiness. And that, I think, is really an impressive achievement on its own. So let's see, find something with colors. There we go. So yeah. So with the movement, this is, let's just double tap a couple of times back. All right, so here we are watching a review of the reflective LCD panel on an e-ink, color e-ink panel. And again, aside from the blinkiness, I really don't have any issues with this. And if it was not blinky, I would actually enjoy this. And even with the blinkiness, depending on the content where you are, what type of content you're watching, it could be okay. But I think that blinky stuff is going to get your eyes a little bit tired, which is completely the opposite of what this technology is supposed to be about. And here it is without the front light. And yes, it is darker, but it's still watchable and still something that I can use. And it looks great. Honestly, it just, for an e-ink, it looks great. But it doesn't really compare with a traditional tablet, of course not. But it's not trying to. It's actually offering something different, because when you turn that front light completely off, it just looks really interesting. All right, can't wait to spend more time with this one. Before I sign off, one thing is new. For the first time ever, around here, you can feel the warmth of the GPU, I would guess. Now when I'm watching videos, I think it's working overtime, especially when forcing the high resolution videos. And it's not hot or anything like that. It's just that I'm used to e-ink devices being completely cold all the time, because they never get exerted to any kind of degree. But this time, it's lukewarm. It's just the tiniest bit more warmer than the body temperature. So you do actually feel it spending some energy there. So something to keep in mind. And lastly, does it fit into the existing Tab Ultra keyboard cover? Well, it should, because it's the same. So yes, fits perfectly because it's the same device. And let's see, yes, it has auto wake up, and yes, it recognizes the keyboard as well. So yes, it works with the Tab keyboard cover, because this is the Tab Ultra, with the Tab Ultra keyboard cover, because this is still Tab Ultra. It just has colors this time. Well, okay then. So the Tab Ultra C. I expected a lot, and I don't like the technology that it's using, and still with those biases in place. So I was clearly biased against the Tab Ultra C. I'm always honest about these things. It blew me completely away, and these are just the first impressions. So it's quite fresh in my mind. The Big Me Galley, the Re-Inkstone R1, the Topjoy Butterfly, and the Nova C is also relatively fresh in my mind. This is a completely different category of its own. The balance of the image, the clarity, the blackness of the black, that's one of the things that none of these guys can actually do. They are managing it somehow, I don't know. And in addition with that GPU, I mean, the way the Tab Ultra pushed the frontier further, Tab Ultra C does that even further, because it does all of those things, but in color, and not as gimmicky, but actually properly usable and pleasant to use and look at color. I mean, it kind of annihilated everything that I threw at it except the video, even the video except for the flickering, which I do objectively don't like. So yeah, and I know that this sounds like a conclusion, but this is just my first impression. So I am under the impression of the Tab Ultra C, as you can clearly see. And I do look forward to actually spending time with this and bringing you an in-depth review. But that brings me, good segue into another important point, and which is that in-depth review is going to come quite later. Only in June, so I won't be able to do it before. Why? Well, because I am moving. I am now still in the process of moving, and this is going to be the last video that I'm going to be filming in this room. Not the last video that you're going to see, because I've been very busy for the past couple of weeks, and the entirety of May is already recorded and scheduled and everything. It's just these kinds of things, the important ones, that kind of slot in, then I do them now. And this is literally the last one that I can do with the timeline that I have allotted to that. So what awaits me is dismantling, packing, moving, and then unpacking, and then actually establishing a new studio in a new place, and all of these kinds of things. So that is the reason why I won't be able to bring you the in-depth review of the Tab Ultra C sooner than June. And that is also the reason why this unboxing and first impression is so much more elaborate and so much wider than any of my previous first impressions, because I wanted to give you as much as I possibly can with the first impressions in mind, but also in-depth first impressions, if that kind of makes any sense. So it is a little bit of a hybrid between an in-depth review and first impressions, but key data is kind of missing, so we don't have the tests of the surface resistance, the Desta test of different colors, the battery life, all these sorts of things. How does it work as a monitor, and all of these kinds of stuff. All of that is going to be in the in-depth review, but it requires a lot of testing, a lot of time, and basically I physically won't have the room anymore. So that's what I attempted to bring to you guys with this video, and I hope that I managed up to some degree, or one way or another. I hope that you liked the video. Please do let me know in the description down below, in the comments, engage with the discussion. What do you think? What is your impression of the Tab Ultra C? I am impressed, the first impressions, but we will see what it means and how it actually compares with the Tab Ultra on a deeper level. But yeah, it's really seems to be quite something. So and that puts into perspective all the other color devices. So I'm just wondering, like, okay, Kaleido 3 is really cool. Kaleido 3 also came out as a 13.3-inch panel, did it not? Last summer, or am I mistaken? So if it has, are we actually now at the verge of seeing, a Tab X but in color with that type of performance? Ooh, that would be quite something. I hope that you liked the video. If you did, please like and subscribe and ding the notification bell in the description below. It really does help the channel have the visibility and maintain its existence in the monstrously cruel and unforgiving world of the YouTube. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!